There is a space where you are all you need, where you are all you want. All there is here. Welcome to the Source Connection, conversations about who we truly are, the possibilities of creation and the new earth we are birthing. With your hosts, Tarah Long and Liz B.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the Source Connection. I'm Tarah. And
Liz B. This is episode number 2.
Episode number 2. So let's start with, as we will do, we believe on these episodes, as it feels good, start with just a minute of connecting to ourselves and therefore each other. So let's go ahead and wherever you are, you can close your eyes or lie down or sit down, or if you're driving, keep your eyes open for this one. Just relax and take a deep breath. And just be easy. Just be easy with yourself. And feel that breath that naturally moves through your beautiful body. And feel how it just connects you more and more to yourself, to you, that deepest sense of you, not the one in the mind, the one that has always been and will always be. That changeless, infinite you. Feel the ease of that and the relaxation of that. And the knowingness deep inside that this is what you are. And the power that comes from this knowing, from this source connection. And let the body breathe and move and relax however it wants to. Shake it all out. Ah, yes. Thank you for taking that moment together with us. We feel it.
This space is so cozy that oftentimes when we just stop like that and just really connect with this deeper us, it's just so nurturing that words are so small and it's just right. It's just so like, all right, I feel complete. All right, see you next time.
It's to talk about now, right?
The mind relaxes and loses its grip, which feels so divine.
So beautiful. It's just, that's liberation right there, isn't it? Yeah. That's complete liberation. It's just mindlessness. Forget mindfulness, folks. I want mindlessness.
Yep. I'm right there with you. I think that we try to codify and quantify things. So again, we reason with the mind. So we give it names and terms. And once you experience something, it's beyond the mind space. And it enraptures your body. And then the mind merges with everything. Yeah, because we have this very mind-driven status quo. And oftentimes We don't have the three centers, our gut, our heart, and our minds deeply connected and really guiding together. And so it always feels such a relief to just drop in and really engage consciously into connecting with that space.
Yeah, and it's such an invitation, for me to just drop all identity with anything, with being anything, with being, a person in the world, doing this and that, having this role and that role, which are all beautiful things, of course, but just to drop that and just feel what remains when all of that just falls away.
Yeah.
There really is nothing to say when you in that space, right? It's like,
yeah.
La, la,
We're
la,
just like, yeah. Now we're like, okay, yeah.
So what were we going to talk about again today?
It's like, do we need to talk about anything? Because I changed places today when I was setting myself up and experimenting with this new space. I got up to get some incense, and then I saw one of my favorite authors' book, Mark Nepo, Reduced to Joy. And I thought that maybe we could open up and just see where it would fall and read a piece of that. Yeah. And then take it from there.
I love it.
This one's called Breaking Trance.
Ooh.
Okay. It's raining lightly, and the sheep are standing in the wet field, stopped by beads of water from the sky on their ears, their eyes, their mouths. They look like statues breaking their trance. Alive for the first time, they wonder, what is this magical place where the very air kisses you everywhere? Falling in love with the world is like this. Oh, Nepo. Wow.
It's good stuff.
Breaking the trance.
Breaking the trends. What is that? There's a lot of that going on right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Mass worldly ritual taking place on so many levels, the physical, the mental, the emotional, the psychological. And I think for the ones who can see through that, it does feel like a trance. It feels like a different sound current, I want to put it, or a radio wave.
Yeah.
That you can, how do I say this? You can see it, almost like you can see the sound, you can see the vibration and the hypnotizing waves that are connecting beings beyond the level of their even rational mind at this point.
Yeah, it's very much like the Truman Show, isn't it? It's just being a witness to something like the Truman Show, if you will, and being outside of that kind of fake world.
Yeah.
And just seeing like, wow, okay, they're still getting up and going to work, and they're doing their things, and Truman, was that his name in the Truman Show? I guess it was. Truman. I haven't watched in a long time, but just like, and then something like shatters the canvas of the world,
Right.
So there's a lot of opportunity for that, but I feel like the canvas of the world is almost unreachable for people on that different radio station in a way. Not everybody, but feels
Last year we had a lot of low-hanging fruit for peeps to reach up to, and I feel to take a bite of different possibilities. One may say it like that. And I do still believe that are a lot of low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
It maybe it's just because we are more susceptible to seeing it. We see it everywhere. I don't know. And I think that once that you talked about it's almost like you are in a set, yeah, and then the set design, something cracks in that design that makes you question, wait, is this real?
Yeah.
What's going on here? Is there something beyond the set? Is there something beyond what I can see and touch and conceptualize as my own reality?
Yeah. What the mind can even perceive. There's even, what is beyond perception? I mean, that's getting, we're getting deep there, but really, like, we cannot be what we perceive because we perceive it. So then what are we?
What are we?
What are
In the
we?
Source Connection, episode 2, Tarah and Liz try to decipher, what are we?
It's a great question. It's a great question. One that has been my priority for my entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of other people too.
Yeah. Would you describe that as a self-exploration in a way, self-adventure? How would you?
It was just always wanting to know the ultimate truth. I don't want any bullshit. I don't want people to roundabout here and then go there, even though, of course, there was plenty of that, right? We've all been down all kinds of roads going, oh, wait, is it there? Oh, wait, is it that? And then it's none of it. It's nothing that we can perceive, So the mind tricks you into thinking, oh, I can figure it out over here, or this is the truth, or maybe that's it. And then come to effort through more self-exploration, coming to the realization that it's none of that, actually. Nothing I could ever perceive or think or put into a word could even come close to who I am, who we are. And so that's touching back to what you were saying earlier, that it's beyond a thought. So it's before form, right? So it's this formless knowingness that is just, it just is, and it can only be experienced directly. It can only be known through, there's many different ways, if you will. There's not a right and a wrong or good or bad or anything like that, but it's not something we can point to it with words, and we sure do try a lot.
Yeah.
It's because that's kind of all we've got, right? So, but yeah, it's that just when you drop in and you, like, if you've ever had a moment in your life, and I really believe most people have, when most people, and when I hear people describe it, when I describe it myself, you're out in nature, even when I was little, and it would just be this wash over you. Nothing has happened. There isn't an external circumstance that is making this thing happen, but it's like a wash over you, and everything is okay. And even more than that, just everything just is so perfect, and it might just be a split second, but it. That's it.
Yeah. Do you feel it oftentimes when I am enraptured by that and really fully in that space? I have this body feeling of this ultimate urge that kind of comes from, I would say, my pelvic area-ish. And just kind of, I feel this thing kind of like, climbing up and just oozing out of me. And I've always had this, this feeling. Do you experience something like that as well?
I guess it depends on kind of what state I'm in. What state I'm in. I'm not used to having this thing here. It's like right now in having that feeling, it's very much a heart, like expand. It's just like and then wanting to just come out,
Mm.
But oftentimes it's like not even in the body, or I'm not tuned into the body in that moment always either. It's just like this locationless space. Yeah.
I guess it does come as you were speaking, and I'm taking that in. It does come at different experiences at that level. It's not only just one thing.
Yeah.
Because it can be completely mind body disconnect too.
Yeah.
It's almost like you've taken off the suit for a moment, and it's just
Yeah. And it's not a abandoning of the body or any sort of disconnection in a way that we're like, it's not an rejecting it, right?
Yeah.
Oftentimes that's a misconception people have, like,
Right.
Oh, we're not the body. Well, you're disconnected from. No. The body is completely integrated. It's just no need to think about or focus on it, and knowing truly what we are, because it's so far beyond form, even though this form is what we chose to be here in right now, and it's perfect.
Right. And having to also navigate the world of form with all its limitations and challenges and experiences at every level. And again, we've been amping the physical world up, and we're being faced with different opportunities for growth and expansion and all kinds of interesting phenomena that I think keep calling us to this depth of experiences in depth of connectivity that unlike any other time before, at least that I can remember of, that I was aware of, let's just say. I think we've always been connected, but.
Right. No, I agree. And this form is showing us where we have asked for purification. Right? We have all asked collectively. Humanity has been longing for this purification for a long time, and now we see it in form, because that's what we perceive. So yeah, we're getting to experience that right now on such a massive level. The purification is happening every second.
Either you like it or not.
Depends on the day.
Yeah. And to also face ourselves as the creators of this purification and the circumstances that we find ourselves into, with the calling that keeps coming back of like, what depth are you meeting the circumstances that you are creating? Acting, reacting, responding, or however else we choose, consciously or not, to do it moment by moment.
Right. And there's no like set black and white way, or this is the right way, or this is the spiritual way, or that's all part of the old system too, right? Is that there is this thing, something you have to do it right, or to be, have this spiritual identity, for example, which I know, I've spending much of my life in this path has been part of my experience too. Like, what is that spiritual identity, and what is actually just me? and how do I actually just want to express myself in this moment that may appear to be anything, could be anything. But if it's coming from my source connection and that alignment, then that's just is what it is, right? And so there can be a lot of judgment, I know, for people, and how should I, how can, there has been for myself, I've experienced that. So now is the time, it seems, to uncensor, really uncensor, just uncensor, and just say it.
Yeah. I think it's oftentimes what we refer as to the slave self-programming, yeah.
Yeah.
And just all this conditioning and expectations and hierarchy of good, bad, right and wrong, duality, polarity that we're learning to integrate and express wholly.
Yeah.
And I think that I was wondering the other day if there was such thing as being out of alignment. And because we can often say, you know, well, I wasn't conscious of that decision or whatever thing. But if everyone is fulfilling their role in this time, is there such thing as being out of alignment? Or there is conscious versus unconscious alignment?
Mm.
And it's not like I have an answer to that, but that was a contemplation that I was embarking on. I have ideas about it, and feelings about it, and intuitive connections to that idea, but it was an interesting contemplation.
I like that question, because it's whether we go down a path that maybe doesn't bring us what we want or what we thought it would, is that out of alignment because it brought us exactly what we needed, what we asked for. So can there be an out of alignment? Yeah, that's a great question. It seems different than, are we connected to our source, right? That's different, because that is either, it's either, well, you are or you aren't. I mean, and there's different levels of that too, right? It's also not black and white, as nothing is. But to what level, I guess, or how connected are you to your source? I mean, we always are. It's not that we're never not connected. It's that there's just stuff in the way. There's just stuff in the way. Our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs, our judgments, our opinions, all of that stuff. So that's what the purification does, right? It just clears all that out for, I don't know, that's my feeling about it. But I like the alignment question. Can we ever be out of alignment?
Which would be, could we ever at the same time be outsourced or, out of source connection? Because what is this connection that's beyond the time and space, beyond the limitations of this experience? And would that be the same kind of question of, I can be more or less aware of my source connection, and therefore honor that source connection, knowing of what that is of me and who I am in my true nature, or continue to be connected to that because that is the expression of this life that we're taking on here at this moment, but just not be fully aware of it.
Yeah, and making those choices that either are serving or not serving, so yeah, I mean, while we're always naturally connected to source, it's are we aware of the choices that we're making? Are they in alignment with that connection, or are we? Because I think I can think of in my life, back in the day when there was a lot of ideas and thoughts and things that were perfect at the time, and I'm so grateful for all of them. But were they the highest expression of this being, this, no. But at the time, I guess they were the highest expression that was possible at that time.
Right. So is it that you are not aware that that was the highest expression because maybe we were unaware of that connection? Yeah. It doesn't mean that that wasn't the highest expression that needed to come through, because either of the awareness or lack of awareness of that connection. I don't know. This is a very contemplative episode.
It is, right? Okay. Hey guys, if you're still with us, if you're following us, Thank you. We just kind of went down a rabbit hole there.
More answers than questions.
That's right. I love it. And I'm doing a
Yeah.
cleanse right now, so which is wonderful, and I feel pretty bright. But there's also a little bit of like that fatigue, that comes along.
Yeah.
A little kind of,
Yeah.
what am I doing? Okay, I'm here. Throw that out there. Full disclosure.
Full disclosure. I think that also that, in the beginning, see, my eyes are wanting to close. So when I really sometimes just give into that space, that's one of the first physical expressions that I feel, is that I'm just deeply relaxed and my eyes get heavy, almost like I don't need any other sensorial experience, or I can cut those down in order to just really fully be in that space. But it's the one thing that I've noticed over and over, and last year, even when I wasn't doing that connection on purpose, I would have, and I've been having moments where I'm like, I just need to keep my eyes closed. I mean, they're so heavy that it's not even, I can't fight it. I'm just like, I'm good.
Now that you say that, I want to close my eyes too. We do the rest of the episode with our eyes closed.
Totally. I mean, I don't.
Hey guys, so sorry, but if you're just listening, then I guess you wouldn't even know.
It's fine. Yeah. And if you want to take a peek what we look like with our eyes closed, you can tune into the video video connection of this episode. And it just feels like it's less distractions. It's less stimulation, because at the core of it, I just keep coming back to, it's so simple.
Oh God, so simple.
It's so simple.
So simple.
So simple.
So simple.
Hey, simple,
what's simple? What's simple?
And I think that because of our wondrous minds, we have been incentivized to make it a little bit more complicated in every way that we can, because it may be a little bit more exciting. So we have all these tools of breath work and movement and ceremonies and all of that, which is all amazing and beautiful. And I can thank them for continuously help ripen my body to the expression of this connection. And yet sometimes you meet the simplest people who have access to any of those tools, and they're just, that light is just bright and it's just shining strongly, and it's so simple.
So clear and simple. And I think that is really that's one thing that connects us, that even if we've never spoken about it until right now, it's this knowing that it's simple. It's this knowing that we don't need anything else to be who we are, to be what we are. We don't need all of the breath work and the yoga, even though it's, like you said, it's beautiful. And if we're drawn to it, amazing. But nothing else is needed but this right here, this moment, this knowingness. Not even that. Just let everything go, and just, that's it. It's so simple. All the identities, like we were talking about, just all, you are not the crystal. You are not the, Ashtanga practice. You are not in there anywhere. You cannot find yourself there.
What I've come to realize about my own practices is that they are facilitators of that connection. And it's not where I find anything. It's where I give myself the moment to be enough and to be whole in that expression. And it's interesting because yesterday I taught my weekly Kundalini yoga class, and I said, you know, I'm going on a trip, and I was wondering if if you guys were interested in doing this via Zoom so we can continue the practice while I'm, not in the physical space here. And a couple of them said, oh my God, please. I mean, I missed last week and I couldn't come. And then and it made a huge difference. And and I was flattered by that. And at the same time, I found a discomfort of, I guess, the point, it's not to depend on those to fully encounter yourself. And I do understand that everyone is at their own level of meeting oneself. And I want to continue to support that. But there was part of me that felt a little like, oh,
yeah,
don't depend on this. Don't make yourself believe it's what this is, that you depend on this to be who you want to be, to be who you truly are.
Yeah.
Because if you keep coming back to that heart space and that connected space, it's really all of that is there. It's just allowing to go into that space and sourcing from that space. And so I felt that minute of paradoxical excitement and like, no, don't depend on this, And we did decide that we're going to be streaming, which is great because I love teaching and I love facilitating. I love helping people create that avenue where they can take the time to be with themselves, if only that.
Right.
And then what comes out of that, it's their own gift to unpack. But yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I very much feel everything that you said. It's wonderful to have these tools, to carve out that space to connect, right? And to not need that. So there's, like you said, there's different levels and people are working at different levels, right? But to go into a practice like that, not needing it, but being like, oh, it's like this bonus. It's like this extra, like cherry on top of what I already know that I am. And again, there's no judgment in however anybody feels coming into a yoga class or anything else, right? It's perfect. But I remember, well, it's this whole outsourcing versus self-sourcing, right? We can outsource anything, even our well-being. So, and most people do most of the time. But this deep self-source of all, I can actually figure anything out. I can actually know the answer to that. I can say no when someone's telling me I need to do something that doesn't feel good, no matter who it is, no matter what level of authority that they may be. And that feels like what's happening in this time so deeply for people. They are going, wait, I've always had to, wait, are you sure I don't have to, get that COVID test to travel to blah, 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 Well, no, not if you don't want to. How is that? And just the mind starts going like, what do you mean? How do I? But really fully owning that you don't have to do anything you don't want to do or that doesn't feel right for you. And just kind of, that's a little off topic, but going back to this, being a teacher and saying, oh, and I used to be an acupuncturist. So I would have regulars who would come, and every week and, oh, I'm so glad, and it would be that kind of feeling like, oh, that's so great, but you don't need, and I would want to have people have their treatment and then wean them off because I don't want people I'd never wanted anybody to be dependent on me. And I even said, okay, that's enough to some clients. This one woman who came to me and she really just came to me. She would call herself a hot mess. She had literally everything you could imagine, like all the physical things. And so after about a couple months, I was like, she's not getting any better. There's no improvement. There's nothing. it's just more and more and more. And so she was coming to me just to have someone to listen to her and to sort of validate her identity of this ill person. Right. And so I literally said, I'm sorry, I'm not helping you because you're not helping yourself. There's nothing I can do for you. Nothing. Zero. I'm only enabling this thing. And whatever she did with that was her thing. Right. But there was a couple of years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago now, I went to this retreat on Maui with one of my favorites. And there was a morning session and an afternoon session. He's like, all right, guys, well, I just, I may not come back for the afternoon session. I don't know. Let's see what I feel like. He's like, and then what are you guys going to do? What do you need me to do, realize yourself? Do you need me? He said, that's bullshit. No, if you do, then you shouldn't be here. Then you should, he just was hard love. And it was great because I was like, perfect. So we literally stood, he came back maybe 30 minutes late. Everybody was laying around, just meditating, just doing their thing. It was very much oh, we paid for this retreat and here we are. And he's supposed to be giving us something. But that's this idea of consuming, instead of creating, no, that's on me. It's always on me. It's never on anybody else to do that for me. So that was fun.
Yeah. When you said you went off topic, I don't think it's off topic at all, because again, it's giving someone some practice, something, the authority to then allow, or the allowance of then you being able to do something, create something, be someone. And I think that the deepest gift, it's to find that inner authority through these practices, where you know that there's nothing outside of yourself that's a better compass than your own guiding system.
Yes.
And once you connect to that, there is no level of worldly authority that really matters, because you know that you are the authority of your own life, that nobody knows you better than you do, that nobody cares about your own life better than you do. And there's a different level of embodiment in showing up in the world. And I think that we're seeing more and more examples of that, because through all the pressure that has been going on, I think that the ones who are deeply embodied and connected are really leading the way to show others what that looks like. And that'll be in different arenas. Obviously, we have the lawyers, we have the doctors, we have the energy, the healers, we're all healers, but in different sections. Yeah. We have the ones who are embodying the legal processes, and the ones who are embodying the medical system, the ones who are embodying the holistic workers, the ones who are embodying everything. area and arena now, of the ones who are knowing that they are here at this time because that connection is so deep and it's so clear that that's why we're here.
Yeah, and I think just saying that, reiterating what you said, that we are the leaders, those of us who are embodied in whatever field we're in, or whatever skill or whatever we love to do. And even just the simple things like not consenting to something that we know is BS, right? Not saying no, standing up, saying no. We give ourselves permission to do that, and then that's a ripple, and we give so many other people permission to do that. Just when they see us, even the energy of it. So really, 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 you are your own authority, and there are guides. There are the guides who are way showers. Hey, you can do this too. Right?
Yeah.
And then if that resonates, then that's your invitation. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that, I come from teachings of language and almost like a passive notion of what spirituality may look like. And one of the biggest lessons for me lately has been really asserting my authority of what I don't consent in my physical experience, my energetic experience, my emotional experience, and just how good it has been to just say that I don't consent. I don't consent. Yeah. And just how firm and strong that really sets a certain tone for the experience of your life. And it's like going back to the beginning when we're talking about radio waves. And when it's almost like when you say I don't consent, you're kind of turning off a channel right there. So there's no passage for that frequency to really, there's no avenue for that integration or forgetting the word, but you get it.
I understand what you're talking about. Yeah. There's no way in. There's no way. There's no meeting that frequency.
There's no radio station.
There's no radio station. There's no dial to even turn the radio station on or off. Right? It's not saying yes to it or no to it. It's just I don't consent, and just that you feel in your body when you say that I don't consent. It's just like it's powerful. It's so powerful.
It's so powerful.
I mean, just feel that in your body when you say that. No,
I
don't consent.
And it was a learning curve for me because it had always been, somewhat the path of least resistance. And I understood that by claiming my lack of consent, there was not even a resistance to it. It was done. It was done.
Nope.
There's nothing to resist here because it's not my experience.
It's not my world. It's not the world that I choose to live in at all. But I love that you brought that up because I think a lot of quote unquote spiritual folks, myself included on this path, this has been the opportunity to really have boundaries and say no, because I could love and light my way out of or into anything before. Oh, but it's not, we'll just send it all the love and we'll just, totally like hold it in the light, which of course you can still do, but someone's coming at you with some shit and I'm not loving like that. I'm like, nope, I'm out. Right? So there's something just so about that is new, I think, for a lot of people right now that I'm even hearing, that are still kind of in that zone, like that mushy zone of like, we can spiritualize anything. But when someone's knocking down your door, it's very clear.
Yeah. And then it's also interesting to have to reassert those boundaries as things continue to move forward and change and shift, and to reestablish the boundaries of what's even possible, because I think that we are shifting and changing so rapidly that it's not like we could pinpoint exactly what we've surpassed or upgraded to. At every moment there's something new happening because we've never had this situation on this planet at this level before. And so it's a constant, almost like a fine-tuning of that space. Yeah.
And I think that you and I have been talking about this a lot this last week, of all these reactions people are having, on the physical level and energetic, all the levels of being around people who have taken the medicalization, the gene therapy, right? The jab, whatever. And they haven't even taken it themselves. They're just around family or friends who have, and then they're starting to have all of these symptoms, right? Like in droves, in the thousands, we're seeing reports, or I'm seeing reports of this, people's like personal stories, right? And it's so like WTF, right? That there's the moment of like just shock and like, okay, recalibrating, like, what do we do with this information, right? I don't want to be reactionary to it. I want to take it in. I want to like, so I did a video yesterday, and it was just, it was all about like, okay, when we know and embody who and what we are, there's no fear to any of that, right? And we can love all the beings, and we can, all of this stuff. And we're not going to go running into a burning building either. So use your connection and know what's right for you in these circumstances. And I mean, I found myself this past weekend in a circumstance that I was totally surprised by in the moment, and like, had all these stories coming in, and my mind was like, oh God, what? And then went somewhere for the weekend and was surrounded in enclosed spaces. Everybody talking about, oh my God, I just got
the medicalization.
The medicalization, they'd all had it and were so excited and proud. And I had this moment, my mind was like, oh, fuck. Like, what a perfect creation that I put myself here to experience this and what to do in this moment. And the only thing is to expand and love and know that I can purify anything, and whatever comes my way is meant for that part of that purification. Again, still using discernment in all your situations. I recommend for everybody. Personally, if I were pregnant or wanting to get pregnant, I would, as a previous healthcare practitioner, I would definitely recommend people,
keep their space. Yeah.
Being very aware of who they're around. Yeah, for sure. But having just been there, I was like, okay, cool. So here we go. What are we doing?
Yeah. I love how you brought the idea of the creation. Yeah. Like, oh, here I am put in this space. And then again, how can I soften through this experience, and how can I embody more of who I really know that I am, that's beyond this construct in time and space and reactions and possibilities, and just taking that to the next level. Like, No Less Here was so intense in so many ways, yet we thrived.
Yes.
This year brings new and different challenges at a different level in the depth that we hadn't faced before. And we are thriving continuously. I think because we're just so aware, of beyond. That Rumi poem comes to me, beyond the ideas of right and wrong, there's a space, and I'll meet you there. And I feel like that's what I keep being called back to. How can I soften and just let go of what I think it is?
Yeah.
Because again, everything is happening so fast. We knew that this was in the horizon, but it did feel really fast.
It was suddenly like, oh, we're creating this thing, we're calling it a scene, and we're putting it out. And I was like, oh, okay, well, we don't have to worry about that for a while. It's going to take a while, right? They take like years and years.
No.
It was like out, and I was like, oh, damn, okay. This is not, you're not playing. And then we know why all of this is happening, and speeding up and all of these things. But yeah, it's that beautiful balance of, like you said, in the mind of thinking something is a certain way and being able to fully let that go and see what's left in our body, in our deep knowingness and our being, like what is left for me here, what is relevant for me here right now, to know, not to know, but to know. I'm pointing to the head, not with the mind, but with that deeper knowingness. So it could be some of this information actually resonates, and then we say, oh, okay, we take action accordingly. But how much of it is in the mind, and how much of it do we just know?
How much do we continue to create? Because we all of a sudden, we all tap into that sourcing of that creation. And then we all start to manifest that. Because at this level, I thought about this earlier, the experiment is happening. And it's at a level that we're not going to be able to control anymore. And so do we not go out to eat at a restaurant? Do we not?
Right.
It's at that level now where it's everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. It is off the tracks. There are no
more
tracks.
Exactly. And so
more. Yeah. We have no clue. We have no idea what's going to happen. And so this is the time where we take all of the things all of these many, many years that we have been training for this moment, that we came to this planet for this moment, right? I always knew somewhere inside of me, I was going to be here for some like crazy crisis. I didn't know what it was. I had no idea what it was, but I just knew when this happened, I was like, yep, this is it, folks, let's go.
And then the curtains open and you're like, here it is.
The movie starts playing, and then we start making our own movie over here somewhere else, right?
Right.
Oh,
yeah. And, all of this made me think of a really interesting experience I had when my mom had been diagnosed with a degenerative neurological condition, and she had been prescribed a medication that was creating side effects. And I remember talking to her neurologist about it. And this is old school medicine, listening, taking notes. If you spoke for 2 hours, he would probably write for 2 hours and just listen without even saying like a peep. It's this kind of like,
okay, yeah.
Writing. And I said, and this is happening. And I mean, it's so interesting because it seems like, I don't know, a side effect or something unexpected. And he said, he looked at my mom, he looked at me, and he said, if I go to the package insert, through the books, none of it will point me to what you're telling me it's happening. But all I have, it's what you're telling me that's happening, and it's in front of me, and that's where I need to look at. And I had never experienced quote unquote traditional Western medicine talked about that way. Mm-hmm. And it was so honorable that he was able to, at that moment, drop all the books, the inserts, and say, oh, I can argue with you. Right. Which we hear a lot that happens. It's people and doctors defending their positions and defending their products. And this man was literally told me like this. I mean, you're telling me there's something in front of me, and I need to drop all of that and just be with what is in front of me at this moment.
Because
take action from this.
Yeah, he saw you as another being there in front of him, and not a textbook. Yeah, and not also, he didn't feel like he needed to defend a textbook away or a certain pragmatic view of something that, no, if it's not here, it doesn't happen. And so again, what are we being called to here? Like, we've gathered all this information, and we think we know what's happening, but can we surrender to something bigger, to something greater, to the mystery of life, and continue to assert ourselves in what is true and right for us, what's in alignment with our deepest truth and our deepest knowing, and continue to find wider and deeper spaces of love, of respect, of connection. We've been so polarized. And so activated in so many ways. And so again, it's moment by moment of like, wow, look at all this. What a mess. All right, what's happening in my experience right now? Yes.
Does that need to be my experience? Right? And to really step into the position of creators, we know we are that. And so what are we creating? And when we do create these dissonances, what are they trying to assert or show us?
Yeah. It all comes back to oneself.
Interesting times.
Later. Oh yeah. Interesting times.
Interesting times. I'll tell you that.
Whew.
And it's sometimes very heavy to witness certain choices, unconscious behaviors. And yet I found for myself, which was another lesson, was that I needed to give everybody the dignity of their own timeline. Thank you, Dr. Christian, for saying it so beautifully like that. But it has really never left me once I heard it in that way.
It's beautiful.
And just being with everyone where they're at.
Yeah, because that's where they're at. And that's not our business at all.
It is not.
It is not.
It is not. And a lot of people will say, well, but once it starts impacting my life and, once, as long as it's not forcing anything on me, and that has led me to a deeper contemplation of, aren't we creating it all? So is that what I'm going to create in my experience? Is the forcing of that on me?
Right.
No.
Or even thinking that anything could be forced on you. I think that's that's the thing. Like, you're creating that so that you can stand and say, no, there's no fear, because nobody can force anything on me that I don't want or consent to.
Yep.
Right. So that level of embodiment is, there's no fear. Even if we do drop this body, like even that, like that's okay too.
Yeah.
Okay too. And it's okay for all this stuff to be heavy and to have all these, confusions and worries and thoughts, and, it's all part of it. It's inevitable at this time. Just be with that.
Yeah.
Soften around that too for yourself.
And as we look into this whole process as a purification process, when things are being destroyed, when they're burning down, when they are collapsing, if I just stop here for a moment and I think of a structure collapsing, burning, being destroyed, it doesn't look very pretty.
No. It's stinky.
It's messy.
It's messy. It's
loud.
It's loud. It creates a lot of mess around it. And for miles, maybe, with the ash.
Yeah.
It's, that's the nature of what's happening right now.
The dying and the being born.
Yeah.
Even when a being drops the body, right? And then the system starts to eat itself. Yeah, by its own nature, and nature comes in and takes over and all of that. And so I believe that the ones who know, the ones who are here, know that we keep on sailing, even though the sea is stormy. We just keep on sailing, and we keep on our steadiness, and we keep in our knowingness, even if it gets rocky, if it gets shaky, if it gets troubled, because there's nowhere else to go but to fully integrate and then to be bred new life.
To just be in it and be okay with not knowing what's going to happen. because nobody does it. Nobody ever knew. Nobody ever. This isn't new. This isn't a new thing. This storm is just a lot more intense. The waves are bigger, right? The waves are bigger. Maybe the storm's going to last a little bit longer than anything we've ever experienced. And you can go down in, in the bottom of the boat and take a nap if you want. That's fine. But you got to come back up. Come back up.
Yeah. And just, I think that once you find that above the clouds, like if we're here and it's stormy and it's thundery and all of that, every time you fly over an airplane, it's always steady up there. So we're moving. I feel like we're moving through this rumbling because things are just collapsing as they've needed to collapse for a long time in many ways. And again, because it's big, it's loud, it's noisy, it's messy, some will choose to collapse with it because the identity is so intertwined with the externalization of what life is that, it will just have to go with it. And we have to continue to stretch our hearts and keep that heartbeat strong to be able to hold grief and pain and
fly over those clouds and be what you know you are, not as an escape, but just as a deep knowing and reminding yourself that, it's actually always sunny. It always has been. It's okay.
And it's okay to scream when it gets stormy and get pissed off and get loud. Sure. It's fine. It's all okay within that. And just, I try to just be the least hurtful to others as I can in that process of that kind of expression and, internal thundering and rage that comes up every now and again from even having to hold the space for all of this to happen with the knowingness that we have, which can be like a heavy load at times.
Oh, there are days, where I feel it. And I know it's, it's holding the collective in that moment. And it can take a lot of energy sometimes.
And just being okay with that, from time to time. So there's no, to me, there's no wrong expression. I try for my own good to limit the suffering of others that I can intertwine in the expression of my own fury.
Sure. Yeah, if possible.
If possible, yeah.
And then just getting together with your dear ones and laughing your buns off. That's always good medicine, right?
The best to me. Best. Haven't found a better one yet. So
no, I haven't either.
If anybody has another idea, let me know. I'll try it. But that one to me,
it's laughing about all the silliness. It's rolling thunder.
And I think that, as you were saying, ultimately, when you really know that there's a greater expression, this all at a level becomes comical and theatrical. And let me take that back. It becomes movie-like, and the movie can be a comedy at times. It can be a drama, and it can be a scary movie, and it can be all of that. But there is a certain, almost like you're an spectator versus a participant in some of the plays and in some of the scenes.
Well, sometimes you feel like you're like in it, right? Like you're the actors, and you're like, oh shit, I guess I don't have control over any of this, which of course control is a sticky word, and then we realize, we're the director of this thing. Oh, cool. The actor, and then we realize, wait, I'm not even in the movie theater.
I am the movie
theater. I'm in the movie. And I am
But the
not.
movie doesn't even exist.
It doesn't exist. It just doesn't. It's not even there. It's just a big show. So many levels of everything happening. That's the beauty, right? Is we get to choose whatever desire and call that you have to go to that next level is always available to you. It's always available to you. And there's so many wonderful guides out there. I mean, there's two of us here. There's countless guides for you. I mean, you are your own authority, but I am a big proponent of guides, when we need it. So
yeah, guides as the materialization of that need for that moment, as that co-creation, like as some being will show up in your life as a co-creation, as a co-creator of that experience with you. And yeah, just
creating another version of yourself to, take you by the hand, but it's really all just you. All your guides are just you. Whether they're in the physical, whether they're in the non-physical,
I
all
have
your guides are just you.
Archangel Michael is my phone screen, right? My
Oh yeah.
And oftentimes I look at that and I'm like, oh look, that's me. What a cool image of that expression. Yeah, because when we're thinking about all of these avatars and all of these representations of this grand power, strength, courage, victory, love, connection, respect, empathy, kindness, compassion, all of that. That's all the possibility of who we truly are. And we see those embodiments out. We've created these avatars of embodiments of that. And it's remembering like, damn, that's me. That's awesome.
That's cool.
It's like being a musician and sometimes coming up with a cool little riff or a cool little song idea. And then months later, listening to a song that has that same hook or that same melody and going,
yes,
man. And I remember being young and being like, oh, I knew I should have done it. And then now I'm like, man, look at what we've done. We did that. I didn't even have to do anything. There it is.
I just put it out there and then somebody else actually took those action steps.
And so just remembering all of that and just coming into this. I think that ultimately what's dying, it's the mechanical, non-empathetic, disconnected ways of being. And we're bringing back the magic, the things that we don't need to explain, the things that we feel, the things that we know, but they don't need the words. They don't need the mind to recreate them so they can be reinterpreted. And so I think we're claiming that back.
Yeah.
And so the collapse of all of that, it's messy. In the rumbles of all of that, we're finding the magic dust of who we've always been. And we are reconnecting to that. And again, it's simple.
It's simple.
It's very simple.
The letting go of the identities of, oh, hi, kitty. Which one is that? She.
The little one. Yeah.
What's her? Wait, is that Chi?
That's Chi.
She's the one that's scared every time I come over.
He's very shy. So,
hello. He's out here saying
he's
hello.
Like, and I don't want to look at any of you.
He's like,
I'm doing my own thing. It's like, simple.
Mom, it's time to wrap up.
It's simple.
Just be like a cat. Just sit under a chair. And
I found out a couple weeks ago. I have not verified this information, but your hearts and minds can do whatever they want with it. That cats sleep about 60% of their lives, and the other 40%. They groom themselves and they get more delicious and they play with one another. And I'm like, yeah, all right. I like that a lot.
I can believe that.
We can start recreating that a little bit more and just embody that.
Let's
and
just
playing with each other and just,
play and sleep. Play,
yeah,
sleep. And play is
grooming.
creation, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just, I think dogs are all, people think cats sleep a lot. I mean, because I have a dog right now and she sleeps all day. I mean,
There you go.
we exercise her and everything, but I'm like, you're like a cat. She just laying
Maybe
around sleeping all day. I'm like, I think
Maybe she's a dog cat.
Maybe she's a dog.
Maybe she's more of a dog cat because this cat here will fetch and play. My other cat doesn't do that, but this one, and we call him a dog cat. I mean, you throw, he'll get it, and then you play with it, and then he, waits for you to do it again. And I've never seen a cat do that before.
Sky doesn't even know how to catch. She'll go get a ball, and then she's like, "Oh, now what?"
Okay.
How do I do?
No, Sky's like, look at me. I don't have time for this.
So like, I'm just gonna prance around, and you're gonna tell me how beautiful I am.
Yeah, and I'm gonna look into your eyes. Look at my eyes, and you're just like, I love you.
Exactly. I swear we cannot take her out or on a walk or anything without 100 people being like, "Oh, your dog, she's so beautiful."
And what do you say? I know. I mean,
what do you say? Like, thanks? Like, I didn't.
I know.
I mean, I guess I did create her, right? But not personally responsible for how beautiful she is.
But it's like, I know.
Yeah, I'm like, a lot of times I'll say, yeah, she knows. She does.
But I think that here we should institutionalize a different way of reacting to compliments. And let me say that I've gotten better receiving compliments. I would always deflect them. Oh, well, no. Oh, yeah. Always find a reason to not accept it. And so, I guess next time somebody tells me something nice, I'll be like, I know.
Yeah. Well, I've said that before when someone said that. I'm like, yeah, I know. She's pretty, isn't she?
No, I'm talking about ourselves because I want to see how hard it's like, oh my God, you look so beautiful today. And it's like, oh, thanks. It's like, I know. Instead of saying thanks.
Thanks.
I know.
Let's do it. Girl. I think
let's just see how that resonates.
I've said that to Jeremy before. He'll give me a compliment like, you're so amazing or something. I'm like, I know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I'm saying that's easier when we know each other, but like just somebody random, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's do it and see.
And that is our invitation to all of you beautiful people out there.
Next time, just know, just know how beautiful you are and just know who you truly are and just continue to dive deep into yourself. I believe that's the best gift we can give others.
Amen, sister. Like a beautiful completion to me. And next time, we are going to have a guest. Is that right?
Yeah, fingers crossed. I know that people have their own schedules and all of happenings and podcasts and episodes and all of that. But we have a few cool people that we would like to have cool conversations with. So hopefully next episode we'll have one of them join here and share this beautiful space with all of you. Thank you for being here one more time.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Love you so much.